All right, we are live. Let me just tweet it out here for everybody. 1 second. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It is Thursday, November 28th, 2019, and it is Thanksgiving 2019, and I hope everybody is
Well,
having
happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
a blessed day today and enjoying time with family. So we're doing this. The market is open tomorrow, so we like to go live every market night. So basically, if the market's open, we're gonna check out some charts. So even if one person shows up, it'll still be fun. So, and anyway, we just want to kind of wrap up the discussion this week on patterns to profit with the oops buy pattern. So we're going to take a look at that as well. So okay, so let me just kind of get going here. 1 second. Yes, before we get started, please be sure to review this disclaimer. Everything that we're going to talk about tonight is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. All right, let's kind of catch up here and see where we're at with the market. Obviously, it wasn't too long ago; it was yesterday. It's not even as long as a weekend at this point. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on. There's definitely some news events and things like that could start to get things going in an interesting way. So anyway, so far this month we took the green hammer up. The monthly chart is now over the upper Bollinger Band, which is very interesting. So kind of a rarity, right? Sometimes it tags the top of it. The last time it got over the upper Bollinger Band really was here, and we got a move down the following month, which is a possibility. That could happen in December, and then it happened basically. We weren't over the upper Bollinger Band here last year, but we did have that push down in December, right? And then we had the Christmas reversal, right? So, and then we kind of worked its way back up. So we'll see if that has that in store. Maybe it'll push down to the mid Bollinger Band on the monthly and kind of go from there. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on because right now futures are down. We'll take a look at that in a second. But in the meantime, bullish until proven otherwise, right? So let's see if they decide to prove it otherwise. So weekly chart again, same thing. Not even quite overbought yet on the RSI, but getting there over the upper Bollinger Band so far this week. One more day left, kind of a half day tomorrow. And the trend line, right? So the upward trend line right now is still holding this, right? So the trend is bullish until proven otherwise, right? So again, new all-time highs again on Wednesday, and now we'll see what happens on Friday. So maybe it'll be a red day. Maybe it'll only come down to to the trend line itself, right? If not, some gaps below that certainly could be tested in time. But one thing I kind of want to I was actually about to tweet out, and I might tweet it out later, is actually, let's see if I've got this here. Nope, I don't have it there. But I'll tweet it out later. But basically, I pulled up 1987, right? So October, what was it? It was yeah, October 1987, where we had that big flash crash, right? And the market was just like it just dumped like at the time it went from like 320 all the way down to like 230, so 100-point move. A lot of times we can see that a lot, just nowadays. But in terms percentage wise, it was a pretty big percentage, right? It was like 25%, right, or 30% of the entire market, right? So if we lost 30% of the entire market now, right, we'd be some deep doo doo, right, in terms of point wise, right? So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, that setup, right, uses our, just going back at it, I'll tweet it out later, uses our trendline techniques. And, basically, it, kind of broke down below the trend line. It kind of chopped around and gave two kind of lows very similar to this right here, right? But, again, a little bit of a down move. Then it came up again, then a down move, then up, and then it gave a confirmation bar, and then it flushed. So, I mean, it gave a full day, to like look and be like, okay, yeah, let's swing this short now, and then boom, and then it was like 3 days later, so there's time, right? So for the most part, I mean, it could happen overnight, I suppose, but right now futures are holding up okay. Let's take a look at that real quick after we just look at the price action here on Wednesday. So geometric chart still looking good. Wednesday, 15 warp up on the SPX. And again, these are the levels that we provide to our subscribers before each market day so that, we can use these levels to trade off of, right? So a really, really choppy day on Wednesday. Seemed like it was just going to be like a pre-holiday day, and then it was just like, oh, wait a second. Oh, we're going up, and we have techniques, right, that help us buy these pullbacks to these key levels, and right next test this level, and then a little bit more, right? So it was a pretty amazing day right there. But real quick here, let's take a look at the S&P futures. So big reason that the futures are slightly down here is the reason the futures are slightly down now is because this Hong Kong, right, the Hong Kong bill. Right, so that's kind of the big thing. But look, the market knew this thing was probably going to get signed, right? And we even talked about it, in the live streams and stuff. And so the market knew it was going to get signed. And basically, like, even if it wasn't signed, right, there was enough votes in Congress, the House and Senate, to have it go through anyway. Okay, so at this point, it's signed for democracy, and so we'll see, if it affects the trader. But again, some of the headlines out there are saying like we're not going to let this affect the trade war, and that's coming from China. So it's like okay, is what it is. So it looks like honestly it's holding this macro trend right here. So we'll see if that continues to hold overnight. It did break it down this minor trend, right? So a little bit of a bump and run, right? We talk about that a lot. So bump and run came right down here. So now if it runs and breaks down this trend line, it's got some key levels that it can still test, right? It's 31.44, 31.41. So we'll see if that holds, going into tomorrow. Okay, and again, short day tomorrow, so market opens at normal time, but closes at 1 o'clock. So make sure you pay attention to that if you're trading futures. I mean, if you're trading options for expiration, things like that. Okay, good. So let's take a look and see what's going on with the market. So 1 second. All right, yeah. So let's take a look. Let's talk about our patterns to profit, the oops buy pattern. And guys, this is really kind of a simple technique, right? Especially if anybody, I don't know if anybody out there follows, Scott Redler out there. He's got the red dog reversal, right? Very, very similar to this, right? Except this was made in 1978, right? Same technique of price. It's amazing how this works. So basically, all the oops buy pattern is, right, is if we gap, right, in the morning, right, above or below a certain, the prior day's high or low, right, there's a strong chance for a continued move into the range of the prior day once it enters that range. And so that's it. So and then one real quick note on it is a lot of times these are good at the end of the month, like for window dressing, things like that. So if for the buy pattern, right? So let's take a look. Let's take a look at some examples. It's actually pretty rare in his book, in Larry Williams' book. He even talks about it too. He's like this is actually pretty rare, but it's very common. It's very common to work, right, when we do gap down to get that continuation move. And it's usually a 1 to 2 day trade, but you can still scalp it intraday too, right? So right now I just have I have Home Depot pulled up, and you'll see it is rare, right? Even we gap down, right? We have those closing gaps, right? But a lot of times it is rare to get a full gap down. So now here you can see this is a good example with Home Depot, right? So the next day, right, we actually gapped. You can see where we opened. We gapped below the prior day's low. This is very rare. So what happened right after that? Well, it tried, and this was obviously a quick move, right? So after that, at 204, it tried to run all the way up and hit like the 205 level. So a quick point off of entering in the prior day's range, right? And then you got to be careful, right? You got to move those stops up because you can always re-enter later if it comes back, right? But you don't want to hold it down to here, right? That's kind of the key with it, right? And I think there was another one where it did it and then reverse. Yeah, so here's a good one right here. This is a now, unfortunately, it didn't close in the range, right? But the next day was a continuation here, right? So it gapped down below the prior day's low and then gave a move up into the range a little bit and then kind of closed back down. And so it wasn't until the next day where it got that follow through over the prior day's high for that range. So something to think about, right? When it does that gap down, it likes to kind of, once it can get back in that range, it likes to extend past it, right? And so even this too is almost a Morningstar reversal as well. So in fact, it is the foundation of a Morningstar reversal, right? Because we get that gap down and that move back up. So that actually happened here, right? We gapped, but it never got back in the range. It also works on the sell side too. So here you can see just, here's Home Depot. It also works on the sell side. So you can see here we gapped up this day, right? This day we never got back in the range. We gapped up here. And when it did get in the range, right, it gave a nice move down, right? You can still trade that, right? So that's why on our levels, we like to see yesterday's high and lows. It just reminds us to continue to look. So from there, it was 218 and then pushed all the way down to 216, right? So a nice 2-point move off of that. So just keep an eye open for this, right? These, and it's not just the gap up in the morning; it's the gap over the prior day's highs or the gap under the prior day's lows, and it is a rare occurrence, right? And then if it doesn't happen that day, then you have the 3-day unfilled gap reversal, right? So here, right, here's a gap down below. Of course, it was earnings down below the prior day's low, right? But it never even got close to getting up there. It never even got close to the prior day's high, right? In fact, this was such a strong move that we pierced the cloud that it was actually a nice potential swing down. Some of our folks actually took this on a nice swing down, right? And then here it looked like it was just about the end, right? And it was like, or just about ready to even go even more, right? And then we talked about this week, right? About this being a possible smash buy, opportunity on it, right? Because it's where everybody starts to get short, right? It even got a little bit of a move down off. We gave that hammer, so it didn't quite get above the prior day's high that day, but the next day it did. So very, very similar to that gap down, situation that we were just talking about there. So Anyway, I hope you guys find that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those into the chat window. We'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up by 10:30, maybe a little bit earlier because it's Thanksgiving. So, but really appreciate everybody for tuning in. And and I know some folks, it's like family here, right? So it's just like coming back to family, so and hanging out. So good stuff. Good. Got a message from Shirley. So she sent a few stocks in. We'll take a look at those first. And some pretty good ones here too that look very interesting. So let's pull up BABA. Wow, guys, BABA is one of those ones that just is kind of like, really, BABA is moving up, like so. So you just have to be careful, right? Now, obviously, a little extended right here, and with the Chinese trade news kind of coming up, this surely be very careful of with the Hong Kong news, right? Because this is one that could now gap down, right? So, but let's take a look and see what it did. Really, the key entry day, right, was getting over all this garbage, right? And so this day right here, it was nice, right? At increased volume, a nice green candle that closed over this pivot right here, and then got that nice follow through the next day. I mean, was it pleasant to sit through? Not necessarily. Look at that; it reclaimed half the range and then went. Right, so then it just kind of sprung up like that. See, that is the patience, and sometimes that helps with options, right? Where you can kind of just know your limit, your premium. Say your premium is 100% risk, right, and just let it work, right? And then it kind of goes there, and then if you have some runners after that, boom, you get that gap up on Wednesday. So huge move on BABA, but again, at this point, a little bit extended here, but of course, bullish until proven otherwise. We just see how it opens tomorrow. So see if they try to prove it otherwise tomorrow. And then SPY, of course, super bullish. Let's see, not sure why this one is. Let's see here. Burp, burp. Okay, so also bullish till proven otherwise, just like the SPX. So we'll see if that continues to work its way up here. Again, possible move down to see how it holds that trend line. XLF. Now there's an interesting one. So real quick, there's the highest weighted stock on the XLF is Berkshire Hathaway. So Berk B is a tradable one right there, and that had a very bullish day on Friday, right? And so that obviously is going to affect the XLF, and so obviously and also the other financials too. But big move there. Nice cup and handle, right? Breakout, right? You guys can see that here. There's the cup and handle over there. Here's your cup, here's your handle, and then up, right? So that's pretty interesting there. And then a nice move up after that. Now it's holding, some other like reaction line levels that I have up there. But again, bullish still proven otherwise. Here's a trend line right there. Okay, good. Facebook. Now Facebook's been really interesting, right? So Facebook has been holding trend, right? It's just hasn't been the most amazing of it, right? So it's holding trend, but it's been really, really sticky in this area too, right? So, but big breakout levels right here. Everybody's thinking after earnings, right, is going to be good to go, right? But it had a big red candle right there. So there's kind of your breakout line right there. Came back to it and finally closed bullishly here above it. A little bit of a head fake, right? Because it came back, could have stopped some folks out on that and then reversed to go to the upside. And then one more fake out and then up, right? So it's been very tricky recently, right? But some of our techniques that we have can help us get some good entries here. We had an inside day right here for the cloud break to actually get there before it was ready to go. So good stuff on that. Bullish to proven otherwise. IWM was actually lagging the market a little bit this time. Whole market was going up, right? And then IWM's just kind of forming this bull flag, and then it finally decided to launch the other day, right off of this inside day too, right? So trend up till proven otherwise. Big spike though, right? And keep in mind here too, you kind of have that kind of stuff going on. See how it couldn't get over all these levels in any sensible way. Upper shadow, red, upper shadow, blah, blah. Inside day, little jack in the box right there, and then boom. So big move on IWM that day. Something to keep an eye on there. And then Johnson & Johnson. Hopefully it's looking bearish, but we'll see. So we have that going here. Here's your trend line, right? So possible bump and run in the works. We'll see. So see how it holds there. I think that was just a projected possibility. So it's only the 200-day moving average at this point. So we shall see. We shall see. So it could be interesting. Here's kind of a level too, right here. Right, the inside day there, kind of upper shadows right there, and it's finally trying to close above it. So it might take a little more work. It might even give like a bull flag before doing it. So I just be careful with this one, surely. Okay. All right, cool. Good stuff. Jay, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. We did it. We showed up on Thanksgiving, so everybody's sleeping and napping here. So, but we got to do it. We got charts tomorrow. We got a fresh day tomorrow, and also anybody new here on YouTube, not only subscribe to YouTube, but feel free to email me at john@positivetrends.com. I'm doing a Black Friday deal where you can jump on our live stream in the morning. Now, I'm not saying tomorrow's gonna be the most exciting morning in the world, right? But at least you can kind of jump in and see how we look at the market in the morning, the type of stuff we do to prep for it, and see if you like it. Suresh, what's going on? Good to see you. I hope you had a great day today. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Jay. S Bucks. Let's take a look here. What happened to the chart? Or did it just drifted to the side here? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, so S Bucks, guys. This thing was really, really interesting. Nice crouch, jack in the box right here, right? One of our techniques, right at the trend line low, and then it gave a nice little, breakout for us here, right off the 200-day moving average, and then gave a nice move to the cloud target. So Starbucks is actually a good one, right, to buy the drip on it. So really, really beautiful stuff there. NEE. Interesting, right? So Nextera, holding support right here, right? So, again, kind of like Facebook was doing, kind of worked its way up, may come back and retest that level, but very, very key areas right here. So look for a potential breakout on that. I love how it came up off of that double inside day, and then to work its way out of the cloud. Very, very nice stuff. And speaking of double inside day, before we look at any other ones, look at NVIDIA, guys. Oh, had a double inside day here, popped up, gave this big green bar. Now a double inside day here is going to pop up again, right? Form a little bit of kind of like a pennant, right? Or is it going to come back down 3-day unfilled gap reversal and work its way down tomorrow? We'll see. So guys, if the market is really weak tomorrow, keep an eye on NVIDIA for a potential short. Could be very interesting, unless they just gap it down and we can't catch it. But anyway, sorry. Back to the chart request. So PG bullish candle right here, right off of the cloud, and we'll see. We'll see how it handles this thin cloud right here. So be careful with that, right? It could flush through it really quickly. Good to see you, Suresh. Happy Thanksgiving. And Anita, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving. UAA. Oh yeah, gosh, this was on the game plan the other day, right? For bullish, I was like, this thing looks ready, right? Because you have the downward trend line right here. This is what we talk about every night, right? Then we had a bullish close over all these minor pivots here with increasing volume. This one didn't have increasing volume. Increasing volume here, and then look what happened. There. Beautiful gap up. See how perfect that is? It's just a perfect setup, right? And it closed above all these guys too, right? So that was just kind of the other, like the icing on the cake on that one. And of course they upgraded it the next day. But look at that close right over all that was resistance, guys. Right over all that right there. Increased volume, and then right there into the gap. So now from at this point we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So and I think it was y'all's idea too on the UAA to get me to look at this the other night. So but anyway, beautiful stuff. Nice move there. So again, kind of a spinning top right here. It may, again, if the market is weak tomorrow, you have a 3-day unfilled gap reversal here as well, right? So it may want to kind of test back this resistance area here that may test it as support before trying to work its way up through the cloud. So great one on that one. I think it was your idea too. That was great. iTub. Interesting, yeah, a little ADR right here. So these ones gap a lot, right? They gap around. So just kind of keep an eye on this trend line right here. So kind of like a double tweezer bottom right here, right? So it's a kind of a bullish signal, but see if it can get through this trend line and then confirm and work its way up, sort of like UAA did. Good, Paul, what's going on? Gobble gobble. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I don't know if the snow melted out there for you a little bit, but 72 today. 72 today here. Woo! Beautiful day. 92 Shamir, what's going on? Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. Hey, it's 9:30. We've digested our food a little bit. It's always nice to talk about the market a little bit before. If you're going to trade tomorrow, we may as well look at some charts, right? So good. Yeah, let's check out Lyft. Inside day, my friends, at the cloud. Beautiful stuff, guys. This is looking interesting. So I don't know whether to say it's bullish or bearish, but it is working its way up. So the trend is up, right, until proven otherwise. Golly, that is amazing right there, right at the cloud. I'm gonna put that on the bullish list for tomorrow. If the market's strong or this thing wants to be strong, this could be one to go to. Let me put this here. Give me 1 second. Let me add that to the list for Friday. half day. Think next week's options for sure. Right, with that theta. I mean, it's basically we're basically opening it at noon on Friday, essentially, right? The way it is with theta. So I mean, it's going to be such fast moves. So definitely think about trading. If you trade weeklies, trade next week. So that's definitely something to look at there. So so we got lift on the radar there. Give video short on that one. We have this, and hold on one second, and yeah, and Vive. Okay. Okay, cool. I'll look for 60 anchors later. Good. Sorry about that. Had to do some admin stuff here while we're doing charts for tomorrow to get our game plan together. Okay, good. Yeah. So Lyft, definitely that inside day is very interesting right there. And then Uber, not as interesting, right? Not as interesting. We're kind of in a chop zone now. Is it doing a horizontal channel? Maybe. Kind of flaggish, maybe-ish if you go from close to close-ish, right? If you're trying to look for something there, right? So, and we'll see. We'll see if it gives us any sort of indication. And what the hard part is, we had increasing volume here, which is good. We actually swung this overnight and got a nice gap up on it, so that was good. But then after that, look at that decreasing volume right there. So, is this accumulation volume, and then just the chop volume right here, and the next big volume day is an up day? Maybe. We'll keep an eye on it. For sure. Good. And then Twitter. Yeah, guys, Twitter, just a beautiful move right here, right? So here's our that must close over, right? And so this is that level right here. This is the day right here, and then Twitter got a nice little move up right there. So pretty good stuff for Twitter. Again, next target is that gap area. So we'll see if it continues to have any sort of strength. And Diz. I'm sure Frozen broke tons of records this weekend. Good timing for them to release that. Inside day on Friday as it closes over the our fib fan line. So let's see how that kind of works its way tomorrow. See if it can break itself up and be a market leader, or if it breaks down. And we still have a 3-day unfilled gap reversal on Disney as well. Okay, good. And in Amex, what's going on? Yeah, Vive, nice one. So this is one, if you guys caught the video, the Thanksgiving special video today, this is just a classic example of the gap, the gap reversal, right? So earnings, gap up, and then flush. Now, would I have expected it to go that much? Not necessarily, but this thing can move when it's ready, all right? Big candles like that. So, so here, all-time high, kind of working on some sort of corrective pattern right here. Maybe it definitely doesn't look like a zigzag, right? So maybe ABC-ish here, right? So maybe a 335. It's working its way up. Anyway, keep an eye on it. But here's the deal, right? It couldn't get over this pivot, so that's your major gap and go level right there. And look, see how it showed as resistance. So because of that, it came back in and gave that reversal. So check out that video, the Thanksgiving special video on that, to get into more detail on it. But what we can see here is this macro trend line down. Right, it couldn't stay above it. Right, it did it before earnings, but it couldn't stay above it. Then it came back down, so it's kind of in this chop zone, but it's also not necessarily bearish yet because look, it held the 200-day moving average, it held the cloud bottom, right, and it kind of came back up a little bit. So now we just kind of have to play the waiting game, right? So after last earnings, right, we had kind of this move right here, then we chopped around for a little bit after a nasty red candle, and then it kind of moved. So just kind of keep an eye on it, look for a setup, or something interesting, maybe an inside bar or something like that to be like, hey, to look for that type of reversal type move. So keep an eye on that one. VMW. Yes, it's super bearish. I mean, it just really is. I mean, look at this. The 200-day moving average is just like, no, right? And then it also, thrust below all these key levels here. So this is very bearish, and it has a potential to work its way to the cloud. If anybody, that's just really that's going on the list too for a bearish stock right there. So, VMW. It just looks ready for a little bit more. Not saying long term, but just a little something maybe to the cloud. EVH. Oh, that was a nasty day, but big lower shadow. Okay, so some buying volume came in there, right? So keep an eye on that. So make sure it holds this cloud right here. So that's an interesting one there as well. CME. Okay, so here you can see we now have this. It was trying to break out over these pivots right here, so it has to either get above that or get below this, right? So it's kind of in that medium zone. Nasty day, right? So it may want to come down and test that 200-day moving average, which would correspond to about the a trend line test right there. So definitely worth keeping an eye on there. And then Pan W. Oh, look how epic that was, guys. I mean, it was epic. I mean, this move up, right? I mean, it was just like non-stop up, right? I mean, and then look what they did to it. They just crushed it, right? So this big move down, right? Nasty move right here, which looks like a lot like that BMW chart, right? And then a little bit more to the downside, like Home Depot did, and then worked its way back up. So it's still below the 200-day moving average, but it may consolidate in this area, and it closed above our macro downward trend line, right? So if you kind of go back a little bit, you can see what it was doing. And you can also see how big that downward trend line was when we finally got here, right? It gave us an inside day, nice close right here, and then it gave us that inside day that was finally that jack in the box that said boop, right? So that's basically it right there. So keep an eye on this, and then we'll see how that, see how it holds over the next couple days. Good stuff, yeah. Jay, BBY, let's take a look. Okay, so BBY, inside day right there, right? So definitely keep an eye on that, see which way it goes. This had a nice gap up. It closed. Guys, this was a gap and go to the upside. And why did it go up? And why did a V reverse? Well, this one got over all the key levels, right? And so therefore had an opportunity to gap and go, because anybody who's, any big institution or whatever who's short here or here, right? They have to cover their positions, right? Because if you're going to have a stop on a short, where's it going to be? It's either going to be here or here, right? So once it pushed through here, boom, right? So nice inside day. We'll see how that, check those levels and see how that works tomorrow. TGT. And these are some good ones too, guys. I mean, with Black Friday tomorrow, right? Sometimes retail does get a little bit of a pop, and Target gave an inside day there. So that is a something else to keep in mind. Macy's as well. A little more consolidated right there, so it needs like some sort of clean candle to get out of that range. DLTR. Yep, here's another one. So not a huge gap and go to the downside right here. So it tried, but again, it came into buying pressure, just the opposite of not being able to get over a high. This couldn't get over under a major low. Now it has an inside day here, so if it gets below, right, these lows, we might see a move down. So just keep an eye on that for a possible short. And then Burl. Yeah, here same thing, guys. With the gap and goes, right? So here's your earnings. There's your major resistance level right there, and then on earnings, it's like once it got through all those levels, see ya. Right now, it's just kind of hanging out up here. Pretty impressive, really. Tricky to trade though. I mean, the options on this one are a little bit tricky. I'm pretty sure they're pretty spready last time I looked. Anyway, amazing move. And what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, let's check it out. I hope you had a great day today. V. Yep. So V, let's take a look here. So this is a nice close. Right? This is a really nice close on Friday. Increased volume, closed over all this resistance right here. V is very bullish, right? So so if the market is strong tomorrow, right, V could be a good one. I like it. I can't believe tomorrow's Friday. It feels like Monday. But anyway, MCD, because I took extra naps today. MCD. Wow, inside day up on Wednesday. Amazing stuff right there. So again, anytime you see a triangle like that, those always could be tested. We talked about when we did our triangle series. But yeah, inside bar up, and this one closed pretty strong right there. Watch to see if it has a little pullback on that X dividend, and then see if it tries to work its way back up to the cloud. And beyond. Yeah, beyond was incredible. We had some setups to get long on this one, and I did not see it when it happened, but it did have a great day on Friday and just couldn't close. They just couldn't close it, right? So, so here we go. We got these levels here that I found resistance on. See how resistance, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow. So it really has to close above that to start getting interesting again. And Facebook. Again, lots of upper shadows as it moves its way up here, but it is holding trend. Okay, so again, it's right at kind of key resistance right here. Okay, so it may kind of chop around in here. It turns into like an ascending triangle. See if it can close bullishly above those levels there with some increasing volume for some more upside. But otherwise, we might be looking into some more chop. Okay, good stuff. Experience and thoughts. What's going on? Good evening. Hope you had a great day today. Happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate you. Blonde Broker, what's going on? Hardest working person I know. Never stop. That's true. Thank you, though. Thank you so much for your support. Requesting now. No. Oh, the stock now. I want charts now. Nice. Yeah, this is forming like a little bit of a pennant right here. Okay, I would say it's a bull pennant, right, because of the big move up. So now we just have to see what it does. So we had an inside day that failed to break down, right, and closed green. So oftentimes that can give a little bit of a push. So see how that does over the next couple days. We have a prior inside day high right here. It might want to test, right, and then we have this prior inside day high. It might want to test. There's a couple cool levels that it could test. So keep an eye on that, our Sequoia, kind of next couple days. Amazon. Yeah, I mean, just like super duper strong, right? So super duper strong. It closed over the 200-day moving average, right? Just remember we had this inside day right here. We had a key setup to get us long on that gap up, and then boom, 3 days in a row, strong. Couple gaps below now, little gap above here, obviously a gap up there, and some closing gaps as well. So see how that holds. Obviously, this is going to be reflective of the market. It was lagging. We talked about in the newsletter, right, how the rest of the NASDAQ was either turning up or moving up, and Amazon was the only one coming down, right? And it's pretty much the highest weighted one on there, and then boom, it was perfectly lagging. So it got that big catch up, over a couple days, right? Sort of like reweighting it or something like that, right? So good. And then of course beyond we just looked at here, but another glance at it. So again, it's got to get over that key level right there. But it had a nice little move for us for a macro, super macro trendline breakout, right? Or start. So good stuff. Parakeet, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving. Wendy, good morning. Hope you're having a great day. Hope everything's beautiful where you are. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. So one more day this week, and then weekend. So good stuff. Suresh, happy Thanksgiving. 92 Shamir. Any advice for someone bound by the pattern day trading rule, trying to get above it? Swing trading seems harder than day trading. Yeah, Shamir. So first of all, swing trading is really hard in this market right now, right? We are in, just to illustrate, guys. I've done newsletters on this topic, but if you just go to the SPX, right, and you go back to here, look at this. Just tag, bullish, right? Just kind of a bull market, right? Just kind of just slowly working its way up. Breakouts work better and all that stuff. And then look, the last 2 years, this craziness, right? So this makes it really, really hard to swing, right? This crazy volatility, crazy moves, and all that stuff. You'd think it was easy, right? It goes all the way from 2,300 all the way up to almost 3,300, almost 1,000-point move in in a year. But yeah, it is tough. So with the Pdt rule, if you're trading options, consider switching to a cash account. I don't know who your broker is, but usually if you have Thinkorswim, most brokers, you just call them up and be like, hey, I'd like to turn off margin and switch to a cash account with options, right? And they'll be like, oh man, no, why do you want to do that? That means you can't get the leverage that you normally like to use. And then you're like, I just want to go cash, and then they'll comply and all that stuff, and you switch to cash, and then you don't have the day trading rule, but you're bound. The only thing you're bound to is trading with what's in your account that day. So if you have, just hypothetically, if you have $1,000 account, right, and you trade an average of $100 per option trade, then you can make 10 trades that day. But once you're done and you've expended the amount that's in your account, whether you made profit or not, right, then you can go back. Right, then you just can't go back and trade it that day, but you can trade it all the next day, whether you made profit or not. So if you made profit, if you made $500 that day, then the next day you have $1,500 to trade with, right? And you can trade as much as you want with that $1,500, but it just keeps deducting each time you trade it. So if you trade $100 per option trade, right, then you can trade 15 times the next day, right? And then it resets itself the next day. So a cash account is the way around it for sure. And then, of course, you could swing too, and then you don't have to deal with it. But if you use Robinhood doesn't do cash accounts for options. But if you want to do that, then right now there's so many brokers out there right now that are offering zero commission now, right? Even or at least reduced commission, right? 50-cent options and stuff like that. It's negligible, to be able to get in and out if you need to, right? Especially if something pulls back. So keep that in mind. Okay, Session, what's going on? Is it possible to get a wave count on PayPal? Sure. How you doing, man? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving today. Let's take a look here. So PYPL. So let's go to the bar chart because it's usually easier for me to count on those. Let's get a clear drawing up here. Okay. So typically what we would see here is, so this is working its way up here. It's looking pretty interesting. So one of the main things here is anytime if you can channel something right for any amount of time, is chances are you're probably in an impulsive wave, right? So basically, however you want to count this, it would be impulsive. So you could look at this as like wave one here, right? And this could be like some sort of like A, B, C wave two. Okay. All right, and then it works its way up, right? So this could be, one, say like one, A, B, C, two, who knows, three, A, B, C, four, and then, one, A, B, C, two, three, four, five, right? Kind of up here, right? So it's done, right? It's done, right? Just by looking at it, right? So there's your five. Now it could be a wave three, right? So I'm going to say five and then three, right? Because this is wave one, two, and say that's three up here. Okay, so the real question is what are we working on? Whether it's a three or a five is inconsequential at this point. But the interesting thing is that with Elliott wave fours typically end at a wave four of a prior degree, right? So you can see, excuse me, I just need a sip of water. So we can see here, right, is once it breaks down out of the channel, right, it's telling you that this trend is over, right, that this wave is over, okay? And so this breakdown here is impulsive, right? You can see that, how fast that is, right? So what that would imply to me is that that was a zigzag move, right? So that would be a five wave down, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's a wave A, okay? And so from there, and it would make sense now for wave four to finish somewhere around here, right? So that would be A, right? And then we could say that maybe, so that was a 5. This could be like a 3, like say like A, B, C, 3. So that could be B. And you could argue that this is another impulsive move down. This could have been wave C right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be a tough argument, but anyway. But the idea here is this would be like possibly wave C, and then finish the macro wave 4. Okay. All right. If that's the case, now if that is done, right? And now corrective. Let me remove this this trend line right here. Again, you could avoid all this and just have trend lines, right? And just be like, okay, if it gets over this box right here, right, we're bullish until proven otherwise, right? Then it starts to work its way up. And you can also combine that with the Elliott wave too. So let me actually put a channel here. So corrective waves are bound by channels, right? And so in fact, if this were the wave B, right? Hold on, let's see. So that would be here. And we'd be looking at that. Okay, so there's your corrective channel down. And then sometimes they go through the midpoint of that channel here. And so that would make sense that wave 4 is finished here. Again, the count on this, a little bit sketchy with what we do with this guy right here. But in general, let's say it's done. Okay, so if it is done, then now we're working our way up, right? This is a corrective move. So what then PayPal might be doing, and we don't know for sure, this is just a count idea, is it might be working on a wave 5 up. That corrective pattern might be done, right? So ABC wave 4 is done. It makes sense. It comes back to here. You can also verify it with, some Fibonacci's, right? For how big the move is, how big the pullback is from from wave 3, right? And so here it actually moved a pretty big deal. So let's say even from wave 1, if we went up here, so it came about to 50%. Now normally wave 4s are about like 23, 38%. So this went all the way down to the 50% retracement from where, say, wave 1 would have started. Okay, so that's something that you can use as a guideline, as a tool. Okay, and now from here, it could be working its way up for a wave 5. So if that is the case, and I kind of like this setup right here, a little sketchy on this. I'd have to kind of dig in there and be like, okay, maybe that was like 5 A, B, C, B, and maybe that was 1, 2, 3, because this crosses over that, so that makes that not a wave 4 right there. So that's the sketchy part. But sometimes you can do it with an ending diagonal or anyway. But it's possible. But that would be a rule breaker if that were the case right there. So so if it's not, then this count might be wrong, right? And that could be 5, and it could be A, B, C, and then we have another big move coming, right? So let's keep an eye on this trend box. Let's see if we close above this level right here. And if we do, then that might be the start of, this wave up. So if that's the case, this is 4, and this is, maybe like a subwave 1, A, B, C, 2. Maybe we're slowly working on a wave 3, and then a 4, and then finally the 5 here to get to wave 5 up. Again, I have to check this count in here, but I do like how it was all contained by this channel down, and I like how it held the midpoint line here and then broke out over the channel here, retested it, and then starting to work its way up. So I have to check to see what this count is in here a little bit better, as it doesn't look like necessarily an impulsive move down to wave 4. Let me see. So I mean, it could be more like this, like A, B, C. That could have been the end of B right here, and then we could kind of work with that a little bit. This could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it looks like it could work. So let's just kind of keep it at that right there, and then just see if it continues to do this wave up, right? Which would be here, here, and then there. Okay. So generally, it's looking like it's trying to do bullish. But let's see if we can get over this trend channel right here, because here's that trend line right there, and we want to close over that pivot first. So tomorrow might change things, right? If the futures are down, right, then since this didn't close over this level yet, right? I mean, we could be, now that we're here, let me just remove that. So we could be working on just kind of like a little bit of a trend right here, and then this thing works its way back down, and we have to reevaluate the count. So anyway, hope you found that helpful. Good. Doc Admin, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving. It is my pleasure. Thank you for your support and for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at Twilio. TWLO. Let's see if we can get a clean Twilio up here. So looking interesting, right? It's looking pretty interesting. So you start to get strong. That had a nice move here, right? Nice follow through into the cloud, right? On the weekly. On the daily, a little bit different. So, but we're watching this for sure. So I really like how it got out of this macro trend line. Okay. I like how it gave it an inside day right here. I like how it's pulling back here too. So it's very, very possible that it gets, some breakout. If it can get above this level right here and close bullishly above that level, like that, with some increasing volume, then we might see, some move. But as we get farther along, the closer we get to the cloud, so we'll want to see like a close in the cloud as well to try to work its way out. So that's kind of what's going on with Twilio right now. Oh, that's okay, Jay. I know what you meant. Manoj, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving. Wendy, let's take a look at some charts here. Let's look at Tesla. So Tesla, guys, here's your trend line. Here's the top. Here's the bottom. This is your trend box. If it breaks below it, right, we might start to work its way down and kind of test like the gap levels or the cloud or something like that. If it starts to work its way up, inside day up, it starts to fill this gap and gets above it, then the trend just keeps going up. So definitely kind of a key area right now. And that inside day doji harami is very interesting. Okay, and then Okta. Boop, 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 boop. Here, holding trend, bullish still proven otherwise. BA, very interesting what it did here, right? So this cloud is interesting, right? So it's one of these like vertical clouds, and it just kind of like walked through it. It's like, how like Wile E. Coyote like runs off a cliff and he pauses there for a minute. It's like right, and then it kind of falls. It's holding the 200-day moving average right now, but just keep an eye on it. Might want to come down and test that cloud. And then Roku, guys. So I tweeted about this a little bit earlier for a possible Elliott wave count on this one. Here we go. So this is interesting, right? So Roku, obviously hit these like all-time highs, right? So I mean that when you can get the all-time highs, that's an impulsive move, right? So it's corrective wave down, right? This looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zigzag as well. And so now I'm just trying to figure out the count up right now because it really hasn't pulled back in a fashion that is similar to this, right? Because when we see a zigzag, we expect a move of at least equal length as a wave A, right? So if we have that here, we just have to wait and see. I mean, we don't have anything anywhere close to that length down. I mean, here was a move down, but it was barely 50% of that range, right? So now we get to see how it tests this. If this is a zigzag, and this is like sort of an ABC up, then at some point it's going to get close to the all-time highs. And a true zigzag by rule, if this is a true zigzag, the way it's labeled, will never breach wave B, right? So this is actually wave B, macro wave B, right up here. Will never breach the start of wave A, right? So here, let me show you real quick. Let me edit this. So this is A macro. Let me edit that. We'll call that red. We'll make it 14, and we'll say it was default. So that's A. So this would be B, and then C down here, right on the macro level. So, we're definitely keeping an eye on Roku. If the market does tank and this thing, gives us some confirmation below a trend line, then we'll look to short it because it should be about as big as this one right here. Okay, good. My pleasure. Session TLT. Yeah, good old TLT. Again, really tricky with all the gaps and all that stuff as usual, but it's coming up right to the cloud. See how it kind of holds that. Here's your bullish day to possibly swing into the next day there. Right? And then W day. Got out of the cloud. I really liked it. The only thing I didn't like was the low volume on Friday. It is getting out of a macro channel. Right? So guys, whether this was, a corrective wave or an impulsive wave, right? We can see here, this could be like gosh, it looks impulsive. 1, A, B, or 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5. I mean, it really looks pretty good here. For that, I don't think it ever got above those either. Was that a day in there? Oh, that was a big day that it would invalidate some possible counts to the downside. But what we can see here is it broke out of this channel, right? And so it definitely is trying to confirm its way up right here. So now we got to see. Now we have to see what earnings is, right? Because this could just be an overshoot, and if it is an overshoot, then this thing could get just decimated, right? So I don't want to be like too bullish on this thing because if this turns out to be a weak wave, it could get all the way down here, So we'll keep an eye on that one. Good. And then cost. Yeah, so we're definitely keeping an eye on Costco, right? So boom, 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 close above these levels here, right? For potential long in Costco. Love Costco. GLD. And I'm sure they're going to get a lot of business tomorrow. Yeah, so GLD, interesting. It's got to get over these levels right here to be bullish, and then below these levels here to be bearish. So that's kind of like what's going on with gold there. Experience and thoughts. Netties. I know you love this one. NTES. And I know why you love it because this thing moves inside day up right the other day, and then just got some more upside the next day. So very, very bullish right here. Right, it's closing over a lot of key levels. Just be careful with the trade talk on this one. Obviously, Chinese name, so it's going to be affected by it. And then XRT. Good. Nice little. I love that little W right there off the 200-day moving average. So just see how it does. See how it works its way up to these levels right here. Even close above it. Again. Definitely want to keep an eye on tomorrow, Black Friday. So to see if it gives any good setups intraday. Session MACD fib arc is interesting. Yeah, absolutely, and great job on working on those. Let's pull one up just for fun. Let's create a new one. Okay, here, and then let's see. So a couple different ways you could do it, right? Of course, but even if we did from this low here to this high here. Should give us some information, right? Yeah, look at that. Came right down that fib arc right there, right? So you gotta love one of the. Look at that. It did it right here too, and then did it right here too, right here. So, and kind of off of this one too. So anyway, yeah, very, very interesting. So see what it could do. See if we can get over the 200-day moving average and kind of work its way up. It does look like. Again, this was a major impulsive wave up. This does look like a 5, right? A, B, 3, 4, 5, right? So it could be working its way up here, again, and doing kind of that zigzag pattern too, guys. A lot of these are going to give us some big moves, coming up. So that could be very interesting. Good. Jay, my pleasure. Marvel. Let's take a look. Yeah, good stuff here. So lots of inside days that we had to deal with, right? We had this upward trend line right here, got over a macro downward trend line, and just never gave us that lower shadow. And then we had the inside day and then that flush the next day, right? Now it's kind of holding this gap, right? This gap support, and slowly kind of chopping around. It may come back and retest it again. and give a move. I like that inside day here. Kind of gave a little bit of a move off of it, but see what that does. See if that holds. Blombroka, best to switch to cash accounts on Friday, end of the day. That's right. Oh, you mean cash altogether? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You mean you switched to a cash account? Good for you. Good. Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. It just keeps you in control of your account, right? When you get margin, you get all that leverage, right? You lose control, right? Because you think it's just it's better to just build it up and work it slowly. So anyway, good stuff. Kanam, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great day today. CSCO. Yep. So CSCO has been pretty bearish, and actually, now granted, it is a Dow stock, right? It is working on kind of like a really honestly more of like a horizontal channel right here, but it's almost bear flaggish off of that gap down. So let's just see how it does if it could eventually close below these levels. But right now it's just chopping in those areas. What we'll really need to see is, and more likely what's going to happen with it is it's going to close above these levels here, and then work its way up and maybe like kind of blast out of the cloud or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they had a horrible earnings report, and then like the CEO's conference call was awful. So, but it's a Dow stock. So, experience and thoughts. Oh, and cost, of course. We love cost. It's like all I just want to do is like anytime it's a down, is just just have one investment account that just invests in Costco and buy every dip and average down the account on every single dip on Costco. I mean, it's just like, if CMG can get to 800, like Costco can get to 800, right? So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Keep an eye on it. Earnings coming up pretty soon, like mid-December. So, and it does like to chop. It likes to move after earnings and give you a little bit of a move, right? Here, and then it chops. So just be careful with it because of that. But it can move when it sets up, especially intraday. Good stuff. Experience thoughts. Weekly ascending triangle getting tight. Let's take a look. Yeah, it is. Oh yeah. So just so you guys can see what he's saying here. Let me find a clear drawing. Okay. This is the weekly chart. Getting tight. Get some Costco. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Nice. Yep. Blonde Broker, Thanksgiving shopping increased 14.5%. Sweet. We should have it's supposed to be an interesting day. Futures are down 8, but who knows? They could rally it up tomorrow too. So good stuff. Matthew, what's going on? Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for tuning in and for your support. See you guys. You guys have a passion for this stuff, and it's great, right? It's fun, and we love getting together and doing it. Of course, remember the most important things, right? Remember family, friends, and being thankful and grateful and taking care of people, and that's like super awesome. But we got work to do, right? We got trading tomorrow and all that stuff, and if you guys, for folks that are off, awesome. It's tomorrow's probably gonna be a short, could be a short choppy day, but we still like to look at it. We like to watch price. That's what we like to do. It's fun, and so anyway, I really happy that everybody tuned in tonight, to check this out, and great chart requests tonight. And I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. And be sure to check out if you email me if you'd like to jump in on the live stream tomorrow morning. And we'll see you then. And remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you soon.